Good day, everyone. I want to welcome you to today's virtual art talk. My name is Charles Namde. I am an artist. It's my honor to welcome you to today's virtual art talk. The purpose of this art talk forum is to give a voice to certain concepts of life through art. You know that personally, I have been working on commercial jobs. That's what I do, and I earn a living from art day in, day out. Art has never failed me. I earn a living from art, and I'm always busy either with a birthday shoot or with retouching for other professional photographers or with something. But then I always want to go out of the way to engage art in another way, whereby it may not necessarily be now me gaining from art, but me giving out to the society through art, where we will take our time to develop an artwork, any form of art, with a reasonable concept behind it, and then I bring the artwork to this art talk forum where we will discuss it and have the message passed across. I have the vision of expanding this thing over time so that people will always benefit from it. That's the purpose of this virtual art talk forum. Today we are looking into an artwork titled NWABIARUIJE. It's a minimalist digital artwork, an artwork that is aimed at exploring and looking at the pressure on young men to acquire wealth now. So that's the title of the work. You can see it in the flyer, and I've also dropped the link for those of us that may not be joining now who will be listening subsequently. You will get the link to my Instagram post where I uploaded the image so you can have a full view of it. So that's it, by the way. The title of the art being NWABIARUIJE. We are going to be exploring through this artwork, using it as just a pictorial representation of the things that we are going to be discussing today. The pressure mounted on young men to acquire wealth now. We are going to have a brief discourse on that. So today we are going to be looking at the reality of this pressure that we are talking about. This pressure might be coming from peers, peers that are becoming successful, some becoming successful legitimately, some illegitimately. Some inherited theirs from their parents, some just have a good fortune, but then these peers kind of put pressure on their fellow peers. Today we are just focusing on the young men, to go acquire wealth, whether legitimately or illegitimately. So we can also find the cause of this pressure from the family. We might talk of maybe a first son or a son of the house, and they're like always repeating, especially from the parents, you are the son, you are the one that will bear our name, so you have to step up the game and all that. So stuff like this can put a child or a male child into pressure. Then talk of the society, what they expect of men, and then you can also talk of one of the factors that you cannot trash out: the opposite sex. When ladies around place a young man under pressure to cater for me, do this and do that, and by that the young man is driven into pursuing wealth, sometimes legitimately, sometimes in an illegitimate way. So we are going to be exploring the possible cause of this, and what we can do to curtail it. We can still build wealth, I believe. I know that there are different ways in which we can acquire wealth. I am not a believer or an advocate of mediocrity. I believe that we can build, we can become, we can go as far as we want to go in acquiring wealth. But I believe that the legitimate process should be followed, and that we should not be pressured into doing wrong. And these are the things that we find in our society today. So I kind of looked at what's happening, observed what has happened in my own life, in my journey so far as an entrepreneur, and my journey so far as someone who is building a career and all that. I am a young man, and I try to think or look within me to kind of feel or to understand what is this that I feel that is kind of propelling me to want to become more every day. So I feel it, and I kind of call it a pressure, and then kind of observe the youth around me, engaging my fellow guys in conversation. I've come to see that through the young men are under pressure to acquire wealth. So these are part of the things that propelled me, that kind of inspired me to develop this art. Hopefully that as we get along this, there is no virtual art talk that we've done here that we end here. This is just like the launching of the stuff. We will keep discussing this. We will keep seeding prints of the artworks that we've done to firms, to people, and explaining the meaning of the artworks to them and using to pass a message across. I believe that for how long, for as long as we live on earth, that every artwork we discuss here, we have a voice. In fact, the voice will outlive us. That is what we want. In fact, that's the goal of every artist, that whatever you are doing in life, that it outlives you. And that's the true legacy of an artist. So we are looking at the pressure mounted on young men to build wealth in this our time, this our 21st century, and we're going to be also dropping some words of hope to young men out there to keep pushing, keep becoming, keep on with the goal, but understand that you don't have to be under pressure. Understand that there is a process to every sustainable thing, everything that will also uphold your dignity as a human being. Understand this. I remember back then, one of my experiences, right? I had gone to shoot a wedding, or rather a traditional wedding of one of our clients back then. It was in the year 2022, if I'm not mistaken, getting to 2 years now. And we went to we went for the traditional marriage. You know, here in Nigeria, it was in the southeast. You get to go to the hometown of the bride, and that was where we were. And we arrived there to shoot, and it was a big traditional marriage, and there were a bunch of villagers hanging around, and it was not a moderate traditional marriage. It was a big one. And when the villagers came out, they saw the drones flying, the video drones flying. They saw the entourage, they saw the guys of the groom. That's the groom came with, here we say, men mount. He came with his guys, and there were many, and vehicles, flashy cars lined up and drove to the place, the hometown of the groom. And it was a very big event. And talk of the money that they sprayed there, they were just playing with cash, and talk of the gifts that they gave there. In fact, people brought, there was a brand new car there as a gift to one of them, and it was just a big event, and the villagers were watching. But then I am used to stuff like this. I'm used to photographing, events that big guys show up and all that, and I've seen people that are really wealthy. So in observing these people, but then when I kind of hold back when I see people, and I suspect that these guys, that the mode of business they might be doing, my instinct tells me that these ones, a good number of them, are into what I can call illegal means of acquiring wealth. I could tell from their nails, from the way they were blowing smoke and cigarette there, and from the way they were just acting, I could just tell that these were not bankers, and these were not corporate investors, that these were I can't accuse them for anything, but then my spirit didn't actually accept them as someone that I will want my child to follow, to learn from. Okay, so but then that's a work. You have to be official as possible. I focused on the work, but then something happened in that event that kind of failed me. I noticed that some mothers brought their sons, the mothers in the village brought their sons in the village, and I'm looking at these children. They're about 14, 15, and at most 18 years. These were teenagers. They didn't bring their daughter, they brought their sons, and they were cornering these guys one after the other, saying, "Dad, this is my son. Can you teach him the way? I like what I am saying. Like, can you have his contact? Whatever you are doing." That's what I, using our native tongue. Whatever you are doing, I don't know, but just pass them through it. Or can you just tell them something? Or even if it means them following you to wherever you are, to join you in whatsoever you are doing. They use the word in our dialect, whatsoever you are doing. These are what a bunch of mothers, I think there are up to 5 mothers that did that, those that I observed, those that I saw, and my boss back then, he was also talking about it, and he was kind of irritated with it. And you hear him say, why will mothers be bringing their sons to these guys that you are not yet sure of what they are doing to earn wealth, and you are kind of using the word ihe ọbụla ị na-eme Chukwu nna ji wee gozie ego otu a. That's whatever you are doing that has made you to be blessed in this way, that I have this money, please teach my son the way he can follow you. And even if the next day the person comes back, someone you've not known, you've not met, the person is just a visitor, you're saying this. What if the visitor comes to pick up the child? This makes the children, the young boys, vulnerable to human trafficking and a lot of things. What if they pick the boy up and they use him for something bad, something terrible that will endanger the child's life? Okay, so now you see that these mothers have in turn put their young male sons into pressure to build wealth. We don't wish that those mothers would understand that wealth is in process, and that it was too sharp, or will I say it was out of place for them to stumble onto visitors and even not judge the way they were appearing, not kind of scaling the person from your own sense of judgment to know that even if I'm to get closer, I need to clear the air and know and be sure that this person is into something that I will want my son to be engaged with. Okay, now let mothers learn that there is process to this thing, that, and let fathers, let everybody, let the society learn that there is a process to this thing, whereby you are going to give your child the necessary encouragement he needs, knowing that life sometimes cannot be fair and that failure abounds sometimes. But then he will have to grow past some levels to build. And one of the key things is to be consistent in whatsoever you are doing. When you are consistent and you are goal and purpose driven, at the end of the day, over time, you start seeing reasonable results. You start seeing rewards for your labor, for your input, for your diligence, and from there you will build wealth. That is my take. So I am going to be going straight to engaging our guest speaker. When I was thinking of who to engage, I thought as much as possible, and then I remember the friend Maduina. He's a first son. He's a young man, and he have passed through some struggles, I must say. Yeah, he has passed through some struggles, I must say. Kind of trying to throw my mind back, at back then when we were in school, how he started, how he eventually got into his academic path, and now he's a pharmacy scholar, a seasoned poet from Eastern Nigeria, though he currently resides at India, and he is known to be an advocate for self-development with an unwavering passion for poetry, and he's a poet. That's one of the things I enjoy about him. He has authored several soulful poems, and even back then in school, he would write poems that would make us reason, like, is he a human being? Like, who gave this guy this inspiration? That was him back then, and he has published some, he has not published some, and that's the speaker we have today. No, he also has several collaborations with different companies and institutions. We talk of the Ghost Quest of India, talk of the Cartoon Nexus of Bad Nigeria, and a lot of universities. I know he mentioned about 5 universities that he is an affiliate with, and he has worked with in his journey. Also worked with the United Nations, and he's currently an executive director of the Dance Associates, where they are channeled on helping African students to migrate and also to pursue their academic goals outside of Africa. So I'm very honored to have him here. Among all the things that he is, I deeply appreciate that he's an artist, and that he is a young man, and that he is building, and that he has amounted to a level of success, and that he's aspiring to become more successful as a young man. So I'm going to be engaging him today in our discourse. Mr. Maduina, you are welcome. I'm very glad to have you in this place. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, God. I'm very glad to be here. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. I'm glad too that you are here. So let me first salute you because yeah, you're an artist, and may I ask how has the journey been for you? You know, exploring the world of art through poetry. How has the journey been for you, sir?
Uh, I won't say smooth. Uh, I'll just say it's been a learning process. Learning to do better. There's been a lot of improvements in my, let me call it craft, in my craft. You understand? When I began to write, I wrote at a level of understanding. I wrote at a level to which I understand poetry and what I thought it should be, what I learned personally that it should be. But over time, comparing my work with that of other legends that have been there in the past and other legends that are physically present with us, and other people who do a lot of writing, I have I have learned new ways of writing. I think I have evolved to be a better writer, a better poet, and I see that there is a change in taste, TASTE, to my point. So it's not more test like how it used to be before. It's more, sumptuous. You could say that it's where maybe.
So I must commend you, sir, and I must salute you, and I must express my admiration for you. And I want to say thank you for yielding as an artist, and more grace to continue.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you very much too for the engagement.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So, getting into what we have today, we are talking about the pressure that young men face, mounted on young men to acquire wealth in this our time. So, can you witness to the reality of this pressure we are talking about? Like, have you observed it, maybe in your life or maybe in the society? Can you witness to it?
Of course, the society where we find ourselves is such that mouse pressure on young men, growing men, is very, very obvious. You just cannot pretend to not see it. I mean, it's visible to the blind and audible to the deaf. So, there's a lot of pressure on the young man uh, to prove his manhood. I don't know if that makes sense. Every young man must show that he's a young man when it comes to the point of using his mental capacity to solve problems, or to the point of being financially capable, or whatever. So long as you are born a man child, and the society will find ourselves in this present day, there is that pressure on you to prove your worth, and it's more terrible if you happen to be uh, to come to be the first son or the first child of a family. It's more terrible because the pressure is even more. I mean, there are a lot of people looking up to you, a lot of people who want you to do better, all of them. So yeah, I have witnessed it, both personally and with my observations around my environment, my immediate environment, my my external or extended environment.
You talked about something that has to do with first source, and yeah, that is true. From my observation, that necessity is kind of laid on those that come that come in time in a family to start making it in time so that they can help the parents, ease the stress of training the younger ones. And you're a first son of your own family, I believe. And how has it been for you?
Um, will I say fortunately, or I think it is what it should be or how it's supposed to be. I come from a home where my dad assumes his full responsibility. I mean, he does not delegate his role as a father to me. He carries, though inconveniently, but yeah, he carries it with so much zeal, and he goes about his duties. So there has not been any direct pressure on me as a first son to do, but I think the pressure I face as a first son is the pressure that comes from the society. There is this demand on you from the society. There is this expectation at this point in life, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And it's really terrible. I think the only time for myself I faced the pressure of my parents was when it came to what to do in life, how to do what to do in life. My dad was he's someone who always wants to make sure his children are on the right track. He always we use this phrase, I don't want you to suffer through the things I went through in life. So some of the times his concern uh, makes him make certain mistakes I would regard as excusable mistakes or genuine mistakes. And it happened in my case. I really wanted to do something else with my life. I wanted to be a lawyer. I really loved that. I developed that mindset from a very tender age, and I talked about it a lot with people. That is all I wanted to do with my life. But then my dad didn't see it as something that would work. He didn't see lawyers as people who were making it important. You understand? And he would give a number of examples of failed lawyers and all of that. He wanted something big and something in the sciences, maybe medical doctor, engineering, and all of that. So I didn't want that. I've never been like I've never thought about being a doctor in my life. I've never thought about being an engineer or whatever. All I've ever talked about and conceived in my little heart then was how to be a lawyer or how to be a barrister. So, but when the time came for my selection of courses, my dad refused that I should be in the art class and I should train as a lawyer. So it was really tough. We had a lot of fracas then, but I think if I look back now, I think I'm grateful that happened because I'm doing pharmacy now and somehow I like it, even though the course is killing me. But then I love it. I love it. And I don't know what else I would have been if I'm not a pharmacist. Yeah.
For what you've said, I can point at something remarkable you've said now, that intent also matter in what we are talking about. That sometimes these people don't just want, it's not like they hate you. Say, let's use parents for example, who put pressure on young men or on their children. Now we are just focusing on the male gender. Okay, so sometimes it's not like that they want to endanger you or something, or that they want you to just live a chaotic life, but then they don't want you to pass through the struggle or the pain that they have passed through doing what wasn't lucrative enough. So because of that, they kind of pressure you to getting into what they feel is lucrative.
The thing is this. The first thing I want to say is this. We must come to understand that good intent plus bad approach is equals to bad results. I don't even make sense. The intent can be good, it can be correct, you understand? But the good intent is supported with a bad approach, it will result to a bad result. It will give out a bad output. So that I have a child and possibly has suffered in life, and I don't want my child to go through whatever I've gone through. So for that same reason, I go ahead to make my child do certain things that they are not supposed to do. I lead my child, maybe a boy child, into the streets to earn a living when they're supposed to be in school, or I send them to places and people I know that will have negative impact on them, but with a good intent. Maybe I want him to learn a trade or learn something to do so that he can become a better person. But at the end of the day, I would discover that though my intent is good, I would have ended up damaging my child. Even if what I intended that he should become, he eventually becomes it. At the long run, you discover that you have lost your son, and losing a son is not worth having a rich son or having a fulfilled son. That is what happens most of the time, and most of our parents do not understand this. You can have good intentions for your children but still fail them because you them in the wrong way. You led them into doing things they are not supposed to be doing. So, good approach plus good intent will equal to good outcome. But if the intent is good and the approach is terrible, we'll have a terrible outcome.
In a situation whereby we want our children not to make the mistakes that we have made or not to become poor, then we should not approach that motivation with in a strange way, in a very terrible way, whereby the child feel pressured. Sometimes you find parents kind of comparing their kids or their sons to other sons, and they are reminding them that they are 27, getting to 30, and they've not gotten a car, they've not built a house, they've not married and all that, whereas their mates are doing stuff like this. Parents should know that, should encourage them to follow a reasonable process. I think that is a very good way to approach this, rather than putting them into pressure too and not minding whatsoever they put their hand into. Okay, thank you very much, sir, for this input you've made.
No one knows.
Okay, I will also want to understand, in your journey so far, how have you been able to put through? I've read your profile and I've seen that although you're also running your course, to build a career in the pharmacy industry, and I noticed that you've been doing well in poetry, which is your dream and which is a gift of God to you, and you are using it to gift the world, So I want to know, how have you been able to put through, to explore this world and still build a career in arts, in poetry, which will in turn build a well of wealth for you? Because I know that whenever you dispense value continuously, that will get to a point where that value will start bringing monetary benefits. So I believe that you're investing in what you are doing now as a poet. So how have you been able to put through?
First of all, I do a lot of other things aside poetry. I think poetry is something I do because I love it. It's who I am. There is no winner without poetry. There is no, that is my life basically. So it's just something I do because I love it. And the thing is that when you love something, when you really do love something, there is nothing that is going to stop you. There is nothing that is going to stop you. So when it comes to pressures I've had on my writing and on my career and on my businesses and all of that, I think at this point, I just want to analyze the causes of these pressures, because when you know the causes, you can as well know how to tackle them, right? So, one of the causes or the thing that puts people under pressure, and I want to put at this point, make us know that this pressure, some of the times, it's not parents induced, it's not people induced, it's not socially induced, it is just psychological induced, because someone can begin to think this is where I should be at this point, and nobody is telling them. There is no pressure on them. Nobody is challenging them and all of that. But in their head, they are thinking, I should be there, I should be doing this at this particular time, and I'm not doing it. Then they become depressed, they become sad, they begin to compare themselves. All right. I think the primary cause of this pressure is lack of self-awareness, whether it is coming from the parents, whether it's coming from the society at large, or wherever the pressure is going to come from. One of the primary reasons why people are under pressure and the pressure is killing them is lack of self-awareness. If you don't know who you are, what you are able to do, the abilities that lie within you, it is easy to feel like you are behind, you are left behind, other people are ahead of you. You understand? If you don't know, for instance, I don't know that I can be able to write what people will read and they are blown away. I wouldn't know that I can even give value. I will look at other people who are doing photography, people who are organizing beautiful talk shows like this, and people who are on the televisions, and I will look at them and I would ask myself what I'm even doing in this world. I become depressed and begin to, either or any of those things. and I'm under pressure, and I'm the one pressuring myself. Why? Because I lack self-awareness. I've seen a lot of gifted people. I travel a lot. I travel a lot. I like to travel, and in my traveling, I encounter a lot of people. I meet a lot of people from different parts of the world, and I've met people who are so talented, yet they do not know. The Bible said that a man who is in honor and does not know is like a beast that perish. That is what is prevalent. When somebody does not know, is not aware of who they are and what they can do, they tend to be under a certain pressure because they feel they are lagging behind. And it's a terrible thing to do. It's a terrible place to be. Alright? That is it on that. The second thing I find that causes this pressure is poverty. Poverty. People who come from a very poor family, who came from a very humble family, they tend to come with this vengeance against poverty. They tend to compare themselves a lot with people, put themselves side by side with people, and they forget that behind every great thing they see today, there were times for building. I like the title of this talk show, NWABIARUIJE. In English translation, it means a child that has come to journey, a child that has come to sojourn. It's a journey, it's a process. When you've dwelt long in poverty, your mindset is dull. Your mindset is dull. It's like a knife that is blunt. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Your mentality is so blunt. You can't. There is no sharp idea coming from you. The only thing in your mind is how to make money. How to make money. You begin to put yourself side by side with people. I want to do this. You think that the world is against you. You don't realize that actually there is something called value that you can give, and for each value you give, you get rewarded. You just want to cut corners because poverty has dealt with you. And at that point, if you are shown a way out of poverty, you will jump on it, not considering the consequences. So this pressure could be a pressure to liberate your family from poverty. Could be a pressure to liberate yourself. Like you just want to breathe fresh air like every other person does. You just want to wake up in the morning and not bother what you will eat, what you will wear out, how you will manage to get to where you need to be, how you will pay your medical bills and all of that. These are all pressures. But you understand that there is something called contentment. It is one of the process. I don't know if it makes sense. I'm giving you examples of the things I had to do to get out of, to become the version of myself that I am today. I faced all of this. I don't come from a poor family, but I know that I don't come from a very rich family. I come from an average home, where we don't lack food to eat, but some things are very tough, right? So it was quite difficult. At some point I used to be frustrated, and I'm a first son, and I used to be so frustrated. I just want to get these things out of my head. I want to be able to afford certain things. I want to be able to send money to my sister in school. I want to be able to surprise my dad when he says I don't have that money. I said, don't worry, I'm going to take care of it. And this was like I was on a revenge mission against poverty, and I could literally do anything to get that money, to prove to poverty that I have this money now, I can do anything. So that mentality first needs to be shifted. There needs to be a mind shift. To take a poor man and give him money is to doom him. There needs to be first a mind shift, a reorientation. All right, re-editing the things he had learned about life and all of that. Money is not the problem. If you give him that without him going through the processes, he will end up as poor as he was before. Maybe not immediately, but definitely, certainly. So that is it on that. There are a lot of other factors that come up as pressure, peer group pressure. These things happen with us as people who are growing adults. That's what I'd like to call us, right? Now you see your mates. I remember a couple of years back, I was trying to pass JAMB and get into the university, and then somewhere uh, on the road one of the days, I this car just stopped by me, and I was like, I don't know any rich man, so this beautiful car is stopping by, and the window, the glasses were wind down, and I looked in and saw one of my uh, age mates or classmate or something. I saw him and I called his name. I was like, "What's up?" He said, "It's good." I thought it was his father's car, and he was like, "No, no, this is my ride." I was young. I was trying to get into the university, and this guy, who possibly I was older than, was already handling a very big vehicle. Oh, I went home and I thought to myself, "Winner, you are just wasting your life. You got good for nothing." That situation traumatized me for a while. At what cost I wanted to make it. All right, this peer group pressure. Now, it makes people tend to want to do things quickly. You want to get into this world, make money. You're just in a haste to get there, and then you compare your life with the life of people who have been putting in their work for the past 10 years, for the past 15, 20 years. You look at people like Obi Kubana, who have been in the business for a very long time. You look at people like, I love this man. I love the way he walks around with so much composure. Tony Elumelu. You look at people like that, and you just want to achieve all of they have accomplished over a long time. You want to achieve it in one night. You are just hasty to make that money. The Bible speaks about people who are hasty to make money. I think in the book of Proverbs, that whoever is hasty to make money shall not be innocent. Whoever is in a haste. I think Proverbs 20:21, if I'm not even correct, 20 verse 21, that whosoever is in a haste to make money shall not be innocent. Another translation will say, whosoever is in a haste to make money shall not escape punishment. All right. So this thing is a journey. We need to learn that we are going to be on a journey. If you understand that this guy who has 2 Rolls Royce, who has a mansion and all of that, and he's living comfortably, if you understand that he labored for all of this 10 years ago and is enjoying the benefits now, the wise thing to do is to begin your own labor now, so that after 10 years or more you can begin to enjoy your own. But no, the mindset is, I want to have it now. You want to have all the money on earth, and you're just 25 years old. So if you get all the money you can get on earth, you have $50 billion to spend. What do you intend to do with the rest of your life? Like, what are you going to be doing with the rest of your life if you achieve all of what you want to achieve right now? You don't have to put yourself under any pressure, whether it's academic pressure, financial pressure, whatsoever sort of pressure. You don't need to be under it. You're just a growing adult. That's what you are. At whatever point in life, you can make your mark. There is no timetable for running life. And another thing is comparison. This person, parents do this a lot. Can't you see your friend? Can't you see this? Let me tell you, there is no mate in life. You don't have a mate. I don't have a mate. I mean, we could be in the same class. We could be be the same age. But when it comes to life, you are not my mate. We are all running a different race at different paces with different regulations. Our timing is not even the same. Somebody can make his achievements early and die quickly and get out. Meanwhile, I have extra 80 years to live or whatever. I have a lot of time to spend in this world. So why am I in a haste to make all of those money? So there is no mate. There is no need to compare yourself one with another. All right. Now, all of these things were things I had to face, and I had to tell myself, winner, you don't have a mate. Winner, you don't need to figure it all out. Winner, you don't need to own a Lamborghini at 25. You don't need it. You don't need it. Winner, is okay to not have money. I mean, people call you, I need money from you. I say I don't have, and I'm not ashamed. They call you broke. I'm not ashamed. Why will you call me broke? And all of that. I began to tell myself it is perfectly okay to not be under any form of pressure. Now, this is not an excuse for someone to be lackadaisical and careless about their studies. All right. But what I'm saying is that so long as you're sure you are doing your best in life, in whatever area you are in life, so long as you are sure you're on the right track, you're doing your best, you're not lazying around, you are hardworking, there is no need to be under any form of pressure. Do your bid and get out. Do what you're supposed to do, leave the rest. At the end of the day, Igbo people used to say abachoso and. So when I looked at all of these things that actually affected me directly and began to reorient myself and began to tell myself anew that these things are not necessary, my life began to take shape. I began to see that, oh, I can actually add value to people with my writing. I can actually write things that, okay, can inspire others. I have something that I can give to the world. I am valuable. I knew my worth. I taught myself how to adore my own self. I could stand in the mirror and I'll just stand there admiring myself and telling myself, oh, God did this world a favor by creating me with someone like me. And all of that is a form of self-awareness. All right. So knowing who you are, not being intimidated by people who are loud mouths and have nothing to offer. I don't think anybody can intimidate me as it stands now. Thank you very much for your time.
Wow, thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate your input here. Thank you very much, sir.
I'm grateful.
Yeah. One of the things you said, like that you're not being under pressure, is not to validate mediocrity, not to validate poverty or all that, but but for you to ensure that you are not in haste. Haste is poisonous. Haste can make you take uncalculated risk. Haste can make you do stuff that are not right. So this is something that I really like about what you've said. You kind of summed it up that pressure can be a positive thing. When you talk about maybe your motivation or having this urge to go against poverty any way you can, it is very positive because there are factors that are oppressive, and everybody that wants freedom must fight against any form of oppression. And I believe that poverty is a form of oppression. And so when a young man is growing and is determined to fight against poverty by being diligent and by doing every possible thing that is legitimate, to fight against poverty, then that young man has, a positive drive. Call it a pressure, but then it is a positive one. But then what we should avoid in being pressured is being hasty, being in a haste to acquire the wealth. But then we should always sit down to draw a blueprint out and then to follow it, to set our goals right and to pursue them and not feel distracted. So what I have learned is that pressure might be good, but there are some distracting factors that can increase the pressure that is within you. When you talk of now comparing yourself to others and not following the blueprint, now talk of when you keep listening to what others are saying, and when you keep blaming yourself for every failure you've encountered, then you are now allowing yourself to be distracted, and that is not healthy. So talking about poverty also, this is Nigeria, and it's very sad. My heart pours out for every young man in Nigeria, because it is not enough that a lot of people are poor in Nigeria. Like, the poverty rate in Nigeria is very high. It is not enough, but then we also face this kind of hardship that even an average Nigerian who is earning, say, 200 to 300,000 a month will still be experiencing difficulty in feeding properly and paying a lot of bills. So Nigeria has placed us in a situation. You are not in Nigeria, and I pray you don't come back to meet this situation now. But then Nigeria is now in a situation where hunger is now like the trend. So my heart goes out to every young man out there who might be coming from a poor home, coupled with the fact that Nigerian economy is currently terrible. And I pray that with wisdom and with grace, we are going to pull through this period and to keep on building till we become wealthy and financially stable enough to take care of ourselves. And I also pray that the economy of this country will stabilize, so that when we earn, we can really acquire something with what we've earned. Our purchasing power will still be there. Let us not be like a country whereby you have 5 million naira and you get to the market, that 5 million naira has no purchasing power in it, it can get nothing. You can just get a loaf of bread and something that may not really make sense. So these are the two things that concerns me about this country, and I pray that God will help us to have these things fixed. We have our parts to play. So I want to wrap it up by asking you a question concerning strategy. Like I know we know ourselves, and I know that you are running a business with what you are also doing. Poetry is your kind of what you are passionate about and what you do, and you don't mind not earning from it. Just the way I can use this, say this virtual art talk forum as something I do, not minding earning from it, in as much as I also earn from my business, as an entrepreneur in photography world and other things that I do to earn. So I want to ask you about the strategy you have, let's say, used to build finance as a young man who is under pressure, but who is not allowing the pressure to, get to him in a way that will destabilize him. And what are the strategies that you have implemented that has helped you? Or maybe you've not implemented it, but you know that it is a good idea that we young men out there will have to implement, that will help us be stabilized and keep on pursuing our goal and getting positive results to really build wealth in our time.
Okay. The first thing that I've implemented in my life personally and then in my business is contentment. Contentment is a virtue. All right. Most people who are doing well, who we know, who we hear their names, it's not necessarily that they have it all figured out. It's not necessarily that they have everything. It's just that they are contented. It's difficult to differentiate a man who is contented from a man who has everything, because the contented man looks like he has everything. But lack of contentment will lead you to unhealthy desperation, which will put you in problem. It will lead you to compete with people you're not supposed to be competing with. You will compete with people who you're supposed to be learning from. Lack of contentment. You would not know how to cut your coat according to your size. You want to appear big, but you are small. Instead of you to come down low so that others will help you, you want to stand on the same level with them. You want to rub shoulders with them. You don't know when to step down. You don't know when to shut up. You don't know when to sit down. Lack of contentment. There is this song. I love it. It's an old native song. My yes is my yes. My no is my no. I know they promise anything when my power no fit. And then he says, I cut my coat according to my size and all of that. He's talking about. Now that is the thing. Most young men in these times now do not know how to be contented with what they have. I don't know if it makes sense. They don't know how to be contented with what they have. They want to appear bigger than they are. And the risk in appearing bigger than they are is that the real big people who should help you become big. We assume that you have like that. All of that. So I always stand where I am supposed to stand, so that those at the top can see me and know that I need help. And I'm as well content. I don't want to get what I don't deserve. All right. I don't want to get what I don't deserve. I want to work my way through it. I want to get it and know I deserve it. When you deserve it, nobody can use it to manipulate you or use it against you. That is number one. Number two is integrity. Integrity is a currency. You can buy and sell with integrity. Actually, in real life markets, you can buy and sell with integrity. Integrity has helped me a lot. Integrity has met people who I don't know before, who I've never met, commit huge amount of money to me on business basis and all of that. All right. If I didn't have integrity as a person, or if my company does not have integrity and have not maintained integrity over time, people will not trust us. People will not trust me. All right. So that integrity includes that you do what you say you would do. It includes that you maintain the standard that you've said you will maintain. And from time to time, you review yourself, review your principles to ensure that you're still on that standard. You've not dropped. If there is anything, you have only improved on it. So, whatever way you want to view, you want to do something, ensure that you have integrity as a person, personal integrity, and then corporate integrity as a corporation. Ensure that, for instance, there are people in Nigeria who are tellers and they tell you, if you're unfortunate to fall into the hands of one and they say, okay, I'm going to make this clothes for you, come back on Tuesday. Some of the people who are making clothes will be so goodwill that they will ask the teller, just tell me whenever you want me to come and take the clothes. The teller will say, come on this day. And then when you reach on that day, you discover that they've not even cut your material. So that's not integrity. You're actually creating a bad name for you. You know what? You can have good skills, you can have value actually, but if you don't have integrity, it won't sell. There is no regard for any value that is not backed by integrity. So that is it. I'm a contented person. I'm a person that is big on integrity, and I'm open to learning. I look at people, I want to learn from them. I like people to criticize me. I find it healthy to face criticism because it helps me improve. I want to know. From time to time, I meet my friends and I ask them, is there anything you think I should improve? Is there anything I'm not doing well? And with my business too, I go to people and I ask questions. I want to know what I am doing wrong so I can do it better. So that is the mindset of someone who wants to learn. You don't take criticism and you're frowning your face, you're angry at that, someone has said something bad about you. No. It means that there is something you need to work on. It shows that you are visible, that somebody notices you enough to say something bad about you. It means the person has taken time to notice you and observe you. It means you are worthy of their attention. It's a good thing. And they have found something you need to improve on and they are talking about it. You are angry. No, it's a good thing. So, learning how to accept criticism and working around these, making sure you become a better person is also a point that has helped me. It's also a thing that has helped me personally and corporately. And building stable networks. There are things you'll never be able to. There are places you'll never be able to get to in life. There are things you'll never be able to handle in life. But if you have networks, these networks can connect you to the top where you were never meant to be. And how do you build this network? Being a valuable person, being a person of integrity. You understand? Being a sociable person. There are people who may have value, they have integrity, but they are not expressive, they are not friendly, they are not sociable and all of that. It's not. Some of the times they make it big though, but it is very inconveniencing. You need people. Don't disregard people. People are currencies. Somebody can sit on your life. No matter how hardworking you are, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how much of integrity you have, somebody can just sit on your life and say you're not making any progress and you will be stuck. It happens. So regard people, respect people. People are systems. Build systems through people. Learn to leverage on people. And that is how to build this network. All right. So these three things are things that have really helped and sustained me in my personal life, my growth, and in my business too.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate your input here. If I'm to recall or if I'm to make a rundown of it, I say building stable networks through relationship with people and being sociable. And then you talked about another strategy, being open to learning, because as you learn, you get to relearn, which is on a reiterative note, so that it will kind of reinforce your knowledge bank and keep you on. And then when you learn, you also get to unlearn certain things that will give you a better perspective of life. And when you keep learning, you get to still learn new things. So being open to learning. And then another thing you talked about that we young men must understand is that integrity is a currency. So investing in integrity. This goes also to my fellow young guys that might feel that Yahoo or what we call G plus or whatever you call it here, all centered on internet fraud, unhealthy money ritual that might even involve killing your own parents or doing something crazy with your life, sacrificing a part of you or something. This does not speak integrity. So any young man that can hear my voice now, this is winner, someone who is running a company, someone who is doing well in what he's doing, someone who is aspiring to become greater, who is still building, but so far so good. He has gotten to a level that I will say that God has been faithful in his life. This is him saying integrity matters, and this is me backing up that statement, seconding it that integrity matters. How you've made your money matter a lot. What you are doing matter a lot. Like, it's not always about the money you've made, the wealth you've built. The process also matter. Time will tell. In time will come, you understand that you're also accountable to life and to the process you've taken in life. So please let us learn to bank on integrity. Let us learn not to engage ourselves in things that are fraudulent, in things that are, no matter the pressure you feel you face, please, process pays. Process pays, and process ensures sustainability. That's what I've observed in life, that once you follow something through the right process and you invest in it over time, you will build value and it will sustain you. And then you talk of being content. Contentment, I think for me, contentment has to do with being satisfied with your present result, while you also aspire for greater results. Okay, so being content is also something that will help you to stabilize your emotions and to keep pursuing. Being hasty will make you to make a lot of mistakes. I've learned this from my retouching endeavors, a photographer and as a digital artist. Sometimes when you want to rush a process, that is when you will make a lot of mistakes. In fact, if you are to spend 3 hours on retouching a beauty photograph and you want to rush it, you may end up spending 3 days from doing a rushed work, because you will keep making a lot of mistakes. You will not be able to pay attention to the details that will pay attention, that will enhance the beauty of the model. And at the end of the day, you will find out that you have made a lot of mistakes and that you've just produced rubbish as an output. So why not bring yourself down, being contented with what you are doing and with the level you are, while you aspire to become more? Why not take haste out of your life, paying attention to the process, and you are bending down to do what you must do now and leave the rest for God? And over time you start seeing results. So being content and eliminating haste, unnecessary haste in our life, will also help us to achieve whatever we want to achieve and to build a wealth as young men. So this is where we will be stopping today. Thank you very much, Mr. Maduwina, for being here. Mr. Maduwina, I really appreciate your presence here. And I want to also say thank you to all our participants, those that will get to listen on the WhatsApp group, those that will come across this virtual art talk anywhere, anytime. I hope that whenever you look at the image that we drafted to use as a topic, you've seen the image is in the flyer, and also share the Instagram link if you want to look at the full image. If you want me to seed an image of any of these virtual art talks we've done to you, a print or something, you can reach out to me and that will create a print for you to have. Maybe you want to have it in your rooms or anywhere as an interior decor or anything, just reach out to me and I will find a way to ensure that you get one. Okay, so and that would be a very great idea, having an art that you know the meaning of it in your space. That would be a great idea. So thank you very much. I will on with the commitment that I have decided to take in ensuring that anytime that God gives me the grace and the time and the necessary inspiration to come up with work, that I will come up with work and with the concept behind the work, and we will come to this virtual art talk forum and discuss it. And I hope that this contribution that we are making here to nation building, to society building, to building our homes and our families, cutting across religion, relationship, and a lot of things, cutting across finance and career. I hope that it will pay. I hope that you will find a result in your life. So thank you very much. It's my pleasure to have you here. See you in the next Art Talk. Bye.